Welcome everybody back to Boost Emotion, guys. And today we're gonna talk about it. These are the 10 predictions of what the new next GTR will actually be. So, guys, let's go. Let's jump into the video. No intro. First thing, shout out to my Boost Emotion family, guys. I know you guys have already hit the like button. Thank you guys for your support. And if you're new to this channel, I am Boost Emotion. I'm a Nissan Infiniti enthusiast, also a car enthusiast. Also, I report the news. And this is what's in the news today. So, guys, let's go. Let's jump right into it. So, if you guys don't already know, the next GTR has been in the talks, the walks, the whatever you want to consider it the last couple of years, right? So what is the next GTR really going to be? And I've talked about it extensively on this channel about what it's going to be. And I already told you guys my predictions years ago. My Boost and Motion family already know. The new next Nissan GTR will be a hybrid. And boom, they talk about it becoming a hybrid. And the reason being is the Infiniti Q60 Black S was the test mule for the next technology for the Nissan GTR. If you guys don't already know, the Q60 Black S is pretty much the same motor in the Nissan Z, but it's an Infiniti Q60. It was all-wheel drive, and it uses electric motors in the rear drive axle, and it also had regenerative braking and pretty much regenerative energy. It used the electric energy with electric assist turbos, and honestly, it's a plug-in hybrid. It was a unique, complex system that people thought were going to come out, including me. But what I sat there and said to myself was years ago was, this will make this car extensively expensive. The Red Sport was about 50 something $1,000, close to 60. They mean they would have to make this car like a car to compete with like an M4, C63S coupe, and those high end cars. And no one's gonna spend $90,000 plus. And plus, Infiniti and Nissan had financial trouble, so they choose to not actually complete the project. But they're not going to waste all that time in testing for no reason. So here comes the Nissan GTR, the next R36. So 10 predictions about the upcoming R36 Nissan GTR, and this article comes from Top Speed. So let's read it and let's see if anything here really might make any sense. So first prediction is the fastest Godzilla ever. I'm going to be honest with you, yes. Seeing what other hybrid performance cars are doing out here, such as the new C63. You have a couple Porsches, other V8s that use very similar hybrid systems, or not similar, but hybrid systems. They're pretty quick. And knowing this is going to be a sports, a GTR sports car, and Nissan has always already had this technology in its hybrid systems. They've been playing with this stuff overseas for a long time. This is nothing new to them. They're going to do it, and they're going to do it right. And it'll be long in the making. The Nissan GTR was always quick compared to its peers. When the R35 appeared at the GTR 5 years absence, it destroyed competition in terms of performance, while costing nearly half the price of a 911 Turbo, which I think now doesn't even exist. If you want a new GTR, it's going to be over $100,000. Before, when this car came out, it was like high 70s, low 80s. So at that time, it was an affordable sports car for what was on the market. But now, the prices have went up at least 25-30% brand new. So, second thing is more consistent performance. The most vicious R35 you can drive on the road is a Nismo, which packs 600 horsepower. Due to its most aggressive aero, the top speed only 195 compared to its more civil versions of 199 miles an hour. The Nismo GTR is 2.6 seconds, 0 to 60. Figures of low as 2.43 have been quoted under certain right driving conditions. Also, I don't really want to get into that, but honestly, it had supercar performance in the Nismo already. So knowing that they would go with a hybrid system, now they can just charge those batteries, and if it has electric motors, you'll even have even a faster car. But what I sit there and think to myself is, if you add battery packs, you add in all these complex systems, it brings up weight. And we already know the GTR was already like 3,900 pounds. And what we notice with performance hybrid cars now, guess what? They're heavy as hell. They're heavy as sin. They're pushing the envelope at 4,500 pounds. What was that, like 2,100 kg? So 2,200 kg. It's really freaking heavy. Okay. Okay. 3, dethroning the king. The current fast accelerating car in the segment is a Porsche 911 922 lightweight, which reportedly managed 2.10 to 60, and a quarter mile of 9.9. Listen, I'm saying on video, if they think they gonna be able to come at Porsche, Porsche is not playing. Porsche, listen, we know that the GTR years ago dethroned the Porsche. But Porsche went right back to the drawing board and was like, get that shit out of here. Right now, you could go get a turbo S, and like they said, it'll run 10-1, 10-2 all day, every day. It's an expensive car. I get it. It's the GTR is still technically about half the price of that, but we're talking about different level of performance and luxury. You really can't compare the two. Four, the first GTR to feature a hybrid tech derived from motorsports. Yeah, we already know that. I don't need to read the article. A lot of their test mill, they even said it right here. The tech is usually a Formula One and other motorsports. Most apparently in the 2015, Nissan introduced the GTR LM Nismo that raced at the LMP hybrid class in the Le Mans prototype. However, the system worked with a VR X30 DDT 3-liter twin turbo V6, a more powerful version of the VR30, which is in the Q50, Q60, and Nissan Z. The engine alone produced 500 horsepower, and the Curves system, working with the two flywheels and an empyxical, sorry guys, don't beat me up, a reduced gearbox to produce an additional 750 horsepower. Insane, guys, insane. The Nissan GTR might go to downsizing route. I don't know what this means. Nobody wants to admit it, but there is a chance a hybrid Nissan GTR might come with a smaller 3-liter twin turbo V6. While Nissan's baby V6 has already proven to be a tuner friendly power horse, we think the VR38 still has more to give, but in performance and efficiency, the push for fewer emissions mean that the next GTR may have to rely on a 3-liter twin turbo V6 instead of a 3.8-liter, unless the bigger V6 adopts a direct injection, among other refinements. I definitely agree with this statement, and the reason why I agree with this statement is we already see where the world is headed. We see that moving forward, all companies, no matter whatever part of the world, when if they're manufacturing cars, they're going with a smaller carbon footprint. It's not necessarily making not only the motors smaller and efficient, it's also reducing the runtime for these vehicles. Some cars, what they would do is they'll have these hybrid systems where, of course, the car would turn off and you'll run on electric for a while. That also does bring down emissions. So if you're driving your car for 30 minutes and half of the time you're in EV mode, you have a smaller carbon footprint, and this is one of the tricks they can do it. And in this case, they're necessarily talking about going with a smaller possible VR30 motor. Probably it'll be like a VR30 whatever, GTR DDT, whatever they want to call it, right? I don't, because the 3.8 was port injection. So if you go into direct injection, once again, that's better fueling, better emissions. But then also on top of that, necessarily they've had this motor out for so long, they know what's wrong with it. So I can see them taking the VR30 and making it closed deck, better pistons, better rods, better compression ratio. Of course, I would still question myself and think, what kind of transmission would it use? I don't know. This is all stuff they have to figure out down the line, but it definitely leaves your mind questioning, what will they do? All right. The next thing is the R36 GTR to be the first hybrid tuner car. The first hybrid tuner car. I don't. I think I agree with them. There's no real hybrid tuner cars, at least from what I can know off the top of my head. Like there's cars. Let me see. Let me go through the article. Yeah, like there's cars like the P1 McLaren, the 918 Spider. Oh man, that's one of my favorite cars. The Acura NX. So no, technically, the Acura NXX is hybrid. I forgot. Despite being the plenty of high performance cars that are electrified, Acura NXX, the new one. So no, they're not the first hybrid tuner car. Acura NXX is technically the first hybrid tuner car. It's a freaking Honda. So I don't know why they said that. They're being disingenuous here. I don't care if you guys want to say it's a luxury brand. I don't care. 7, it will be a bargain. Hybrid supercar killer. No, I don't agree. I don't agree. I don't agree. I don't believe it would be. I don't believe it will be a bargain. Just seeing what manufacturers are doing right now For example, the Mercedes C63 S, it's going to be pretty much the same type of system that they're going to use in the possibly the new GTR. It's electric assist turbos, it's rear drive axles, electric motors. It's a 4-cylinder with a turbo, like, and that car is gonna probably, for best estimate, is gonna be about $90,000. So I know it's just a C class. I get it; it's a luxurious car, but it's just seeing the system there. Now you're gonna add that, you're gonna have something similar like that in a GTR. It's probably gonna make like 800, 900 horsepower or something like that. I don't see it being a bargain. I don't. I see it being like $150,000 car, and I don't think that's a bargain hyper supercar. I mean, the performance may give you the numbers of like it's a hyper supercar, but I don't know. It's just my opinion. Because, for instance, they said right here the GTR came out and it was little as $70,000, while the 997 was 130. So moving forward, bumped it up to 115 and 210 for the Nissan GTR Nismo. That car increased almost 100% plus. Nismo is expected once again to measure up to the 911 Turbo. Currently, 992 retails at $200,000. Mm. It'll be a Taycan killer in the form of a GTR EV. I don't really care for the Taycan that much. Super Spy received a Japanese publication that this would be that they rendered a 4-door GTR EV. The publication has quite reliable in past, which concern highly anticipated miles, if there's any to be, by the next generation GTR. And they said that this likely will compete with the Porsche Taycan and the Tesla Model S Plaid. The GTR has always been a Japanese answer to 911, and given the Taycan its high-performance EV to set on tone with electric sports car segment, it's logical for Nissan to want a piece of that action. I see that more possibly. I'm going to be careful what I say next. Bear with me, guys. Be very patient with me. What they're saying is that if Nissan said, hey, let's build a full electric car, right? But it'll be on the level of Taycan and Model S level, and we'll make it 4 doors, right? And they'll just call it a GTR EV. Can Nissan do that technically? Yes. Nissan has been dealing with electric cars for longer than Tesla. Yes, longer than Tesla, they've been dealing with electric cars. Maybe not in the United States, but they have enough time and R&D into electric cars that they can build a Tesla Plaid or Taycan car to compete with. They can definitely do it, especially in a 4-door vehicle. They can do it. So I think this is more believable, at least in my case, and I think the masses of people actually purchase it if they make it, of course, more affordable than a Tesla Plaid or close to the price of a Tesla Plaid, because Teslas are not luxurious cars. They just mainly, to me, they're still eco cars, just that the Plaid has a lot of juice. That's it. So I can see being around the price of a Tesla Plaid. All right, and lastly, we have 2 more to go. A classic layout and an unparalleled usability. Okay, what do you mean by that? For as long as the Skyline and GTR names exist, whether together or separately, Nissan Crown Jewel has always been 2+2 seater. To this day, the Nissan GTR is one of the most practical, high-performance cars ever made. The front-engine layout, 2+2 interior, mean the Godzilla has usable aspect, matched by very few. Couple that with supercar-like performance, and you can see why the GTR is one of the best high-performance cars you can use daily. Apart from the hybrid powertrain, Nissan seems to be sticking to the same formula for the R36, despite studies like the 2020 Nissan Vision GT suggest that the next generation GTR may be mid-size supercar. That last part right there, would I consider Nissan making a rear engine mount hybrid vehicle as its next GTR? I don't see them doing it. I don't see them taking that risk. I'm not saying that they're not capable of doing it, but for them to design pretty much a whole nother car, it's kind of like what they came with like the Chevrolet C8. They knew Corvette so much up till the C7 front engine, rear wheel drive. That put the engine in the back, there was so much R&D time and engineering just to make the car at least decent or decently good for the public, that when you sit there and think about Nissan coming and doing that with a rear-wheel drive, possibly all-wheel drive or mid-engine all-wheel drive system and hybrid, it's something very close to the what is it, the NXX, right? Wait, shoot, don't beat me up on video, guys. Shoot, I'm trying to remember. No, let me not bring up the NXX. So I don't think they would do that. I think they would still keep the engine in the front and just make it all-wheel drive, because there's just too much time and money to do something like that. And lastly, four-door EV will be the more popular option. That is just their assumption. I'm assuming that's their assumption, and the only reason why I would say that's assumption is the EV will probably be cheaper than the GTR hybrid, because it's just an electric car rather than having a 4-liter twin turbo electric sys turbo with a electric two-stage or electric motor on the rear axle and hybrid and all this other stuff. It's very complex, and the car will be still, once again, pretty heavy, and the electric car will be pretty heavy. But I can see people just getting in the EV 4-door because it might be just more practical too. Honestly, 4 doors, a trunk, just plug it in and you go, and it'll literally be running mid-nines all day, every day. So I see that more commonly. But outside of that, guys, listen, sorry for making this video so long. I just wanted to actually just break it down and like really just talk to you about it and just see, like, is this doable? Can Nissan really do something like this? And I see it. I see the EV being created uh, more believable than a hybrid GTR. Just on the fact that the hybrid will probably, as they would say, probably be more, I would say, more versatile and usable for the general public if you do want like a electric supercar. But then I do see the hypercar being made, but they can do it. But I'm more worried about the weight of that car. And there's no way to make that car light. I don't see them trying to force that car down under 4,200 pounds. I just don't see how they can do it. I don't see how they can do it unless it's one of the most complex, uh, minimalist battery packs, and they'll save weight all across the car. But then also with safety standards and things, it's gonna be hard. It's gonna be hard. And if they do it, it's not gonna come cheap. It's gonna come at a premium, guys. A premium. And guys like us will look at it and dream over it, because it's gonna be $150,000, $200,000 plus. Just right, check or cash, please. Like, but outside of that, guys, you have a good morning, good afternoon, good night. I appreciate you. Thank you for always banging with your boy Boost. Sorry for making this video so long. You can add me at boostinmotion on G, Facebook. Also, you can send me an email at boostinmotion@gmail.com. Otherwise than that, guys, I appreciate it. You guys have a good day. Thank you.